All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into this little presentation about our urban beekeeping apprenticeship. Okay, this will be a quick presentation. It won't be too long. We'll definitely have some time for some questions towards the end. So here we go. First thing, I'd like to welcome everybody. It's so great to have people who are interested in things that you're doing. So I don't take that lightly. I'm very appreciative of anybody who is interested in getting into beekeeping and doing it the right way, learning what they need to learn and doing what they can to keep the bees and keep them thriving. So a little bit about us. We are simply an NYC-based urban bee farm. I'm going to say we a lot tonight. That's because I'm not the only person here, even though I typically am the face of the apiary. My wife is a big part of this as far as all of the inner workings of administrative stuff and product stuff and all of that. Then we have a small little team of folks who keep me straight and make sure that I'm getting to where I'm going and making sure that things are moving around here. So anyway, if I say we, just understand it's the whole team here, but it's just going to be me that you see on the presentation here. But I'll give you a little bit of information about myself. I'm a certified master beekeeper. I was certified in 2020 by Cornell University, and I went through their program there with the Dice Lab. It's a fabulous program. They also offer lots of beekeeping educational products and such. So if you don't go through us, they're a great alternative resource to do beekeeping the right way. I've been a professional beekeeper for the last 6 years or so. This is my full-time job, not a side hustle, not anything like that. And it's a tough job, and there's a lot more work than my old office job from my previous life. But I love it. I get to be outside. I get to be around the bees, and it's just fabulous. In those 6 years, I've made some great relationships, and I've gotten to work with a lot of different folks. Some people that I've been working with for quite a while, almost that entire time, is the folks at Greenwood Cemetery. I'm the head beekeeper there and take care of all the hives. We tend to have about 20 hives there each year. So that's been really fun. This year, we just started taking care of the bees at the Javits Center, which has also been great. You can see in this photo, this is me just a few weeks ago with a nice fresh frame of honey from those hives there at the Javits Center. So you can't beat a view like that when you go to work. And then finally, I am working with a nonprofit called the Bee Conservancy. They do a lot of work as far as educating the public about pollinators, about bees of all types, not just honeybees. And they work with beekeepers that are, might not have regular access to the different types of beekeeping. So different types of beekeeping, a lot of times you think of like old white guys, and the face of beekeeping has been changing a lot over the last few years. The Bee Conservancy does a great job of that, and I'm really happy to be their apiary manager there. I manage a team of about 11 beekeepers across 7 different sites. So it's been a lot of fun with them as well. But we're going to get right into the program because that's what you're all here for this evening. Our program, our urban beekeeping apprenticeship, we are New York City's only immersive, hands-on, season-long beekeeping school focused on responsible beekeeping. And I know that's a big mouthful, but I've already mentioned it a few times about doing beekeeping the right way. Your bees are going to have an impact on all of the bees around you, all of the beekeepers around you, all of the the ecosystem around you. So we want to do this in the right way so that we're having a positive impact rather than a negative impact on all of those things. Folks in our program are new and continuing beekeepers, and they practice under our supervision and our mentorship on our hives to learn what you can't get from a book, which is that hands-on experience, and especially what you're not going to get in your first season doing it alone. Even if you have a couple hives in your first season, you might see a few things, but you're going to see a very, very small cross-section of what beekeeping is actually. So our program, not only do you get to see what's happening in your hive throughout the season, you're going to see what's happening in your neighbor's hive, you're going to see what's happening at other sites, and you're also going to be able to draw on my experiences, others' experiences who have done this for a while, to see maybe which mistakes you can avoid and what money you can save by not wasting it here and there. So we have a lot of stuff that's included in the program. So this is a list here. We have this list on our website. It has even some more stuff there. Lots of stuff goes into this. This is all to give you the best tools, physical tools and knowledge tools to get through your first season. There's a lot in beekeeping, and you can be overwhelmed your first season and not know exactly which techniques or which methods to use or which equipment to use. And a lot of beekeepers end up having a patchwork of things. So we're going to streamline all of that for you. We're going to set you up with all this stuff. Couple interesting things on here. I'll point out just the 25 sessions and events that we have across the whole year. That's really what you're buying into with this program. The hands-on experience with a dedicated hive. You're going to be able to see one hive going through a whole season. That hive may be a hive that's coming out of winter, and we're getting them back going and going through the season. The hive may be one that is new, that we're installing a package into, and then you can follow that. The great thing is that you'll see both types at the sites that we're going to be at, so that you're not going to miss out. Even if your hive isn't doing a particular thing, most likely someone else's hive at the site will be doing it. So we've got other events: honey harvesting, swarm catching. This is not something that can't be scheduled, but sometimes we get to do it. You're going to be able to be in a private group chat with me and your fellow students, which has been really valuable this past year. People who've had questions, they can reach out to the group as opposed to just me. And while this makes my life easier, it actually makes it a lot better to get answers from everybody, because someone might have just read the chapter in the book, or they might have just saw a documentary that answers exactly what you're trying to do. And of course, there's always more than one way to do beekeeping. So I'm going to be teaching from my own experience and from a few different angles, but there's lots more out there, and I always invite more good ways to do beekeeping always. You're also going to get some physical tools, like your hive tool smoker, protective gear like a bee jacket, bee gloves, and a lot more stuff. We have a whole rundown of this, and if you have any particular questions, please save them till a little bit later, but there's a lot going on in our program. So we'll talk about how it works. We're going to be meeting about every 2 weeks throughout the year. So from the end of February all the way through November. That is kind of the main season. The other few months in December and January, in the beginning of February, the bees are kind of dormant, although there are things to be done, and we'll definitely go over some of that stuff. But generally, we're going to be meeting every 2 weeks, and we're going to be meeting at a site called the Compost Collective in Forest Hills. This is a great community composting site that is really just run by some great people, and they have all kinds of volunteers that come out every Saturday from noon to 2. They accept compost from the neighborhood. They do all kinds of work there. It's like a composting site slash community garden slash bee yard slash all these other things. It's just a really great site, and they were nice enough to give us a little piece of that for our teaching apiary. So that's where the hives that are dedicated for the students, that's where you're going to be taking care of your hive. We're going to have special events. Like I mentioned, we're going to have the honey harvest, the honey tasting, other apiary visits. So these are all in addition to the regular hive checks that we're going to do throughout the season. Something new this year that I'm really amped about is this new online training platform that we have. So there's going to be these companion modules that go with the work that we're going to be doing on the upcoming weekend. So the way this is going to work is basically you'll have a lesson to do online. This is just going to get you up to speed on what we're going to be doing for the following Sunday. This is not meant to be like long hours. There's not meant to have you write essays about beekeeping or any kind of hard work like that. It's really just to add to what we're doing so that you're not trying to, you know, take in everything when we're at the hives and there's a bunch of bees around your head. You can take in everything first, and then we can actually apply it on the day that we're out at the teaching apiary. We will be going through, and we do have a book called The Beekeeper's Handbook. This is a book that you can find on Amazon. It's not a special book for us or anything like that, but you will get a free copy of it as part of the whole program, so don't go out and buy it. But this is a great book. It has lots of reference material, and as a master beekeeper, I still flip through the pages to review different things or to just remind myself on how to do different things. So it's a really great resource, and we will be pulling from that. We won't cover everything in the book. You'll definitely cover stuff as you go through the years with beekeeping, but we'll use that as a good basis to learn about the different things that we're going through during the different parts of the season and so on. And then finally, the hive time. That's really the main part of this whole program. At the site, we're going to do a little bit of a talk, and then we're going to spend most of the time in the hives. This is a part of our program. I can't say it enough. I'm so proud that we get to do this. I'm so happy that things lined up that we're able to go through and actually have hives that we can dedicate to certain students, and we can watch those hives through the whole year, because there's not enough program that does this. So whether the hive does great and goes right into the winter fine, or it doesn't, this is really the best way to learn. And you're not going to be learning on your own equipment. You're not going to be learning with your own bees. It'll be our equipment, our bees. So you'll have kind of a baseline to work from. And then I'll be there to help guide you as we go through, and we do inspections every 2 weeks, and we check the bees, and we do mite counts, and we do all of these other things that we need to do as responsible beekeepers. This is the schedule. You'll see we have everything already set for the year. This is a tentative schedule because beekeeping is very much dependent on weather, dependent on other things too. So this is nothing that we are going to commit to completely right now, but generally we always have the month ahead kind of set as far as the dates go. If we do have to move anything around, we will give you as much notice as possible. If at the last minute we have weather come in and we just can't get around it, either we will reschedule or we will just shift everything we needed to do in that missed session, and we will move it to another session. If there are times here that you know that you're going to be out of town for a wedding, or you're going to be just, you just can't make it for one reason or another, that's fine. Missing a couple of these, missing a handful of these is not going to leave you out of the loop as far as the whole program goes. If you are going to be missing, 8, 9, 10 or more of these, then this program might not be for you. Because if you're missing, that many, you're going to be missing big chunks of what we're going over. And, I'd hate for you to spend all this money and then just not get the value out of it. So You got to be able to commit. You got to be able to be there consistently if you want to go through this program and learn things the way we have them set up. We do try to make it all as easy as possible and as streamlined as possible so that you're not worried about a bunch of different things, but you do have to be there to take care of the hive. Like I mentioned before, we have special events. These are just a few things that I wanted to highlight from events that we had this past year. We will definitely make some apiary visits to some other apiaries, not just the one at Forest Hills. These two, you can see on the left, we have the Greenwood Cemetery. You can see all the tombstones out behind us there. This was a shot right at the end of last winter, I believe. You can still see some of the snow on the ground behind us. But we were doing an autopsy on a hive that died over the winter. So unfortunately, that does happen, but we try to show you every aspect of beekeeping, the good, the bad, the ugly, and go through it and how we can avoid that going forward. We also have the Javits Center. That is this beautiful rooftop, green rooftop, and this urban farm that they have on top of the Javits Center. These beehives are right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, and you can see they probably have one of the best views in the whole city with the Empire State Building and all of the other buildings there. But we have those opportunities, and then there's always other beekeepers that I work with that are happy to have us out to their hives. So I like to show off different ways of beekeeping, different equipment, different sites, different methods, so that you really can find what fits for you the best. These are some photos from our honey harvest this year. We were lucky enough to get a little bit of a spot at Fifth Hammer Brewery in Long Island City. They let us set up our equipment. You can see we harvested the honey there. We cut off the cappings, scraped up, and spun out all the honey, and then we made our jars of honey. So everybody in the program will walk away with a few jars of honey, and you'll be able to share that with friends and family from the bees that you were taking care of all season. We have swarm catching. So this is something we can't really schedule. We can't really promise that this will happen. But this past year, we did have a class that literally I got a swarm call when the class started on a Sunday morning. And so instead of doing what we were going to do in that class, we all stopped and we all went to the swarm and we pulled them off the bush. You can see there in the first photo, it was a pretty big swarm. We got them into a box. We took them back to the site, put them in some equipment. They happened to swarm out of the equipment again. So you can see there in the middle photo, we got them back and we got them back into some boxes, and then they stayed. So it was a very exciting day for everybody, and it couldn't have been planned any better. But if I do get calls, what the plan is to either, if we can go on it at the time of the class, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll put out a message to our private chat in the group, and if anybody's available, they can certainly join me. So it's a lot of fun. It's something you don't want to do as a first-year beekeeper by yourself, but it's a lot of fun to tag along and to kind of see how it's done from a beekeeper who's done it before. So next steps, we want to ask ourselves, are we ready? If you're ready, great, let's get going. If you're not ready, that's fine too. Lots of stuff in beekeeping is all about timing. Lots of stuff for the beekeeper is all about timing. So if you're not ready to commit to the schedule of pretty much every 2 weeks of going to the site and taking care of the bees, you know, maybe this is something you put off for a year or two until you're ready or until you have the time. And if there's any other issues, let us know. Maybe there's something we can do to help out and go from there. We're here tonight so that you can ask questions. So please feel free to ask any questions you have. I hope I have answers for you. If you have any questions outside of this talk tonight, you can reach out to hello@asterapiaries.com, and we will do our best to get you some good answers. We are starting a beginner's beekeeping course tomorrow. This is a 5-class course that goes over bee behavior, taking care of bees, what you need to get into beekeeping, some pests and disease. There's no hands-on part of this course. It's all virtual, but it will give you a leg up going into all of the material that we're going to go into starting in February. So if you want to join that course, you can. There's still time to sign up. Even after tomorrow, we will record all of the classes so that you can catch up then. So if you decide that you want to sign up on Friday, that's fine too. Just sign up and you'll get access to the recording of the first class. If you do join that class or that course, you'll get a $100 voucher for the apprenticeship, which can go on top of the early bird discount that we have that's going on right now. That discount is a big $500 off the price. So, and we're going to have that until the end of November. We wanted to give everybody who is ready to go and wants to get their slot a little bit of appreciation. So I hope this helps out. But the price will go back to the regular price on December 1st. So if this is something you want to do either do it before then or do it sooner rather than later so that you actually get a slot. We have already sold a few slots just in these first few days of it being open. So with all of that information, I wanted to share a little bit from some of our current students. Mike, who's been great all season, he's a photographer, and it's something he'd wanted to do for a while. He said the Urban Beekeeping Apprenticeship program reignited his love for nature and science. The hands-on responsibility of caring for a hive through the whole season was practical experience that I would not have learned from just books. I wish I would have taken this class years ago. And Megan, who works in restaurants and has really brought an interesting perspective to our whole class from the food side of things. She said, I had a blast. I've already recommended the program to anyone interested in getting started with beekeeping. I've learned so much and feel confident to keep some hives of my own next season. Additionally, I believe I made some lifelong friends. So that always makes me feel so good because we had a great group this year, and the fact that people are talking beyond just the class is always awesome. So with all that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to anyone who has questions. If you don't want to say it, if you don't want to be on video, that's fine. Feel free to jump in the chat and we can answer that for you.
Hi, Nick. I do have a couple questions for you. This is Alana. I know there's only two people in here. I
Sure.
know you had shared some of the products that were included, the smoker and hive tool and all that. Are those things that we would get to keep after the class, or they're the apiaries and we're kind of just renting them?
Oh, no, not at all. So besides just kind of stripping away all the noise from this program and trying to just make it simpler to learn, we want you to be able to start a hive the following season. So, you know, I'd love for you to keep staying with us and take more classes and stuff like that. But really, at the end of this, you should be confident enough to start a hive and to start your own beekeeping journey. So, anyway, we have the jacket, the gloves, the smoker, the hive tool. That's all yours to keep. The book. We have a list of things. They're all yours to keep. And we also have something that we'll have next year is a hive tracking app that you'll be able to track all your information on the hive in the program. And then you'll also have a 1-year license after the program to use that app if you want to. So we're doing our best to set you up so that you're good to go into the next season on your own.
Awesome. That kind of leads me into my next question. You know, living in the city, it's not as feasible, I think, to have your own hives living in an apartment. Are there other folks who have done this class who it's opened up future opportunities for them for volunteering or future work with you that's not directly having their own hives?
Yes. So to be completely transparent, this is our second year. 2023 will be our second year. The folks that are going through it right now, we're just finishing up with them basically. And I do expect to have a few of them around in some capacity next year. We still have to iron out details and figure all that out. So I won't shut the door completely on having people back or having people back in other capacities, but we don't have anything formalized at this moment. With that said, we do try to expose you to the beekeeping community in here in New York. So all these extra events that we do, they're meant to get you to meet other beekeepers, to meet other community garden organizers, or other folks who are dealing in the environmental space or the urban agriculture space. And you're absolutely welcome to, make new relationships outside of the program and continue with those people outside of just us bringing you to them. So yeah, we want to connect. We want to connect people to other people. That's good for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you for speaking to that. I think that was everything for me.
Great, great.
Hey, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
My
How are
name is
you?
Marcelo. I'm fine, thank you. I'm from New Jersey, and so this would be probably my second year beekeeping, my third season and second year beekeeping.
Okay.
Um, I started, by myself. It was kind of like during the pandemic. I graduated from college, and I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I figured it was a perfect combination of doing something that was, excuse me, good for my community and good for the environment, but also, I thought I'd be able to, it would be a good way to sustain myself as well. So that's why I decided to go into urban beekeeping and farming here in Newark. And since then, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm definitely 100% glad that I chose this path. So every step has been kind of just about learning how to, do it better. But I see sometimes when you're trying to like expand or kind of create systems, it comes at a cost. So I think learning how to be more responsible would really help increase my confidence and really turn it from it's not a side hustle for me either. I made it my full time, but you know it's kind of like going through each season and kind of learning like new things each season has been especially with North, so many things changing all the time, stuff like that. It's been a back and forth. So I'm always looking for opportunities to learn and grow and expand as well. So I guess my question would be, are there any opportunities for any like scholarships or things like that that might be available? I know that it is early in the program, so it's in its second year. So I know you're still like kind of forming the structure around it, but I know that's always a good question to ask.
Yeah, it's a great question to ask. I can tell you for next year, we don't have any formal um, plans for anything like that because it is a small program. We are kind of working on a very narrow runway is the best way I can say it. But I would say definitely stay in touch, follow us on social media, and we'll have any updates that we have regarding that. We'll put them out there. Also, if you're on the mailing list for people interested in this program, you'll receive that information as well in your inbox.
Okay. Yeah.
But I will mention beekeeping in general is something that you're always learning. So if it's something that you want to master and then move on to the next thing, beekeeping might not be the thing, right? There's
Yeah.
always something new coming out. There's always new products, new methods, new research, so much new stuff coming out on something that we still, use these hives that were patented back in 1852. So it's like a real interesting contrast between old and new. And so you definitely want to have an open mind and just realize that even if you do beekeeping for 20, 30, 40 years, there's going to be new stuff to learn and new things to figure out with the bees. One of the big things in our program, again, is if in beekeeping, a lot of times when something happens, it only happens once per year. And then you have to wait 12 months to install a package again, or to attempt to control your mites in the fall time right now, and if you don't do it right now, you're not going to get a chance to practice that again until you got to do it next fall. So the awesome thing about doing beekeeping with others, not just in our program, but if you can do it around other folks, you can see what's happening in different hives. Every hive has its own personality. Every hive reacts to mites or treatments or food or whatever it is differently. So all of that stuff factors in. And when you can see it all happening at the same time rather than over the course of years, it makes it much easier to understand and grasp it. So I know my first few years personally, I killed plenty of hives. My first year was a total disaster because I didn't really know what I was doing. I took a couple classes, but I was really kind of shooting in the dark. And so all these bad experiences from then kind of speak to the way we're trying to set up this program now, and to make it easy for people so you don't have to feel completely clueless about what's going on. And even if you've been doing it for a few seasons and you still don't quite know, which way to point the ship, you can hopefully we can help you kind of figure it out. So but yeah, keep in touch. We did have one person in the course this year that was we gave a scholarship to. So it's not an impossibility. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But we just have to
Okay.
see kind of where everything lands.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I appreciate it. I mean, where I'm at, it has been, like I said, it's been rewarding, and I've learned so much. And I mean, like each year, I'm like, all right, I finally made it. And I mean, it's only been 2 years, 2 years, but it's been 3 seasons. And then, I mean, some of the, like this season, for example, I had a run-in with bears, and it was like I learned a lot. It taught me a lot, but I was just like, wow, like man, I guess like exactly what you said, you never stop learning. So I guess what I really crave is like more of a formal like a background, because I similar, took classes, and I'm always reading, and definitely social media articles, things like that. But yeah, I think nothing beats that mentor relationship that you can build. So do y'all, and I know, like I said, I know it's still forming. Is there, are y'all thinking about doing any like abbreviated options as well? Just in case for, I see that, for people who have, certain schedules, and probably even with the pricing, it could meet both of those things as well.
Sure. So we don't have like a mini course or a mini apprenticeship, and I don't know that we will next year. We will be doing more of these beginners beekeeping courses. So the virtual course that we're going to start tomorrow, that's like I mentioned, that's a 5-class course that will go over every Thursday evening the next 5 weeks, and that is that's kind of our mini program right now. So that might be of interest to you. I am trying to get some other things scheduled, and so I have some other things in the works, but nothing that's like an abbreviated version of the apprenticeship. We do, besides the apprenticeship, we also do a big thing we do are hive tours. And as someone who's doing this as their job, and if you have the ability to, it might be something on your roadmap in the future to actually bring people to hives, have them purchase a ticket and give them the gear and everything. So people come out, they suit up, and we go to the hive for an hour, and we pull out frames, and they get their shots for Instagram, and all
Yeah.
that fun stuff. But this also kind of speaks to a good point about the apprenticeship, and the fact that the last quote that I had there on the screen from Megan, she's someone who is likely going to be keeping some bees for some folks as a service next year, and not just for fun. So
Yeah.
we've had lots of talks about kind of the business of beekeeping, and what's the right way to charge for keeping bees? Like, how do you quantify that, or different things like that? So this program, while most of the people who are going through it will be hobbyists, I'm happy to have anybody who's more entrepreneurial and interested in the business side of things, and we can absolutely go over that stuff as well. So I try to be as much of an open book as I can with this class, because we do end up being a pretty tight-knit group after a few months together, and you really get to know each other, and you just want to help each other out. So yeah, it's a really great program, and I think anybody who gets into it will definitely see that and be a part of that.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time and information as well. So, I mean, definitely we'll keep in touch, and I appreciate everything.
Absolutely. If there are no other questions, we won't waste anybody's time this evening. We will go ahead and wrap it up. But I do appreciate you for coming on live with me. Of course, if you're watching this as a recording and you do have any questions or anything else, please feel free to email us, and we will get back to you and let you know. Again, we have our early bird pricing that's going to end at the end of November, so you still have about a month and a half to claim a slot, and we will only have about 10 slots this year. So a few have already been reserved. If you would like to get one, get in touch, and we'll get you set up. So with that, have a great evening, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon.